Aldrich?
Yeah. All right,
Really?
so number one.
Look outside, no see a tree.
Wait, you don't think I can do that?
Alex? Square root of 49, x squared, y to the 10th. Square root of 49 is 7. Square root of x squared is x. And the square root of y to the 10th is y to the 5th, because remember the index right here is 2. And what we're doing is you're dividing the power of this right here by the index. So that's going to be 7xy to the 5th. Okay? All right, number 2. Cube root of negative 64. What number times itself 3 times gives you negative 64? 4. Negative 4. And then same thing with the other one. The way that you do the exponent is you take this one divided by that, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So that's going to be y cubed. Okay? Any questions on those first two? How to do that?
We didn't do number 3.
Right, I'm aware. I took this and shortened it up for you guys a little bit because that review was monstrous, so I wanted to keep you fine. Huh?
I got done
Okay.
we have a test tomorrow?
Yeah, test is tomorrow.
Can we not take a test tomorrow?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Can we just do number 3?
No, why don't you just not take the test tomorrow, and then I won't have to correct your
Perfect.
test.
That's the
Worked
easiest
out.
way to grade, right?
Right. Okay, so next one was this one right here. This is actually number 3 in your review. So I don't know the square root of 7. I don't know the square root of 14. And so I'm going to multiply them together first. So 7 times 14 is how much?
98.
98. So that's going to be the square root of 98. And then x to the 3rd times x is x to the 4th. Yes?
Okay, so on number 5, you said those aren't like terms. How is the ones on number 3?
Oh, okay, awesome question. So Jake is saying, how come on number 3, when they're not like terms, it's okay for me to combine them, but on number 5 you can't, okay? Well, remember with multiplication, you don't need like terms, okay? So in other words, if I'm going to multiply the fraction 2/3 times the fraction 1/4, I can do that. I just go 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 4 is 12, and reduce that to 1/6. But if I'm going to add those fractions together, what do I have to do first? I have to get a common denominator, because these essentially have to be like terms, okay? So multiplication and division, you can multiply and divide anything you want together, okay? But when you're adding and subtracting, they have to be the same thing for it to work. Okay? All right, so now I can take the square root of 98, I can simplify that to 49 and 2. Right, so the square root of 49 is 7, so that comes out. Square root of x 4th is x squared, so that comes out. And then that leaves us a square root of 2 underneath the square root symbol.
What should we do here?
Okay?
If it's corrected wrong, just cross it.
Yeah, if it was corrected wrong, then change your answer and beat that person up after school.
No.
Okay?
What change?
Wait, can we?
No, of course not. Just kidding. Read.
So with the under a square root, you just repeat division.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. Okay, then this one was your number 4. So again, I don't know the square root of 32, and I don't know the square root of 2, so I'm going to simplify these first. 32 divided by 2 is 16.
Wait. Could we have used our this? Like the paper that we did the other day?
The
on
review we
this?
did in class?
Huh.
Okay,
So,
what's a to the 7th
Awesome.
divided by a to the 3rd? What do you do with the exponents when you're dividing them?
Minus.
Subtract. And 7 minus 3 is 4. And then b squared divided by b, again I'm going to subtract, and so that leaves me with b. Okay? So now that I have that simplified, I can take the square root. What's the square root of 16? 4. What's the square root of a to the 4th?
A to the 2nd.
A squared. And I don't know the square root of b, so I have to leave that underneath the square root sign. And now I'm done. Okay? Okay, any questions on either one of those? You good? All right, so now we get into the addition problem, and so as Jake asked, in this case, we do need to have like terms. So this on your quiz is number 5. So I can't combine them the way they are, but I can rewrite the square root of 8x as what? Right, I would rewrite it as 4 times 2x, and then I'll simplify that in a second. And the square root of 18 I can rewrite as 9 times 2x. Then, since I know the square root of 4 is 2, I can pull that out. So that's going to be 2 times root x. Plus, I know the square root of 9 is 3, so I can pull that out. So that's 3 times the square root of 2x. And now that they're all root 2x's, I can do the math. One of these minus 2 of them plus 3 more gives me a final answer of 2 root 2x. Okay? Okay, any questions about that?
So since they're all 2x, just same.
Right, right. Yeah, because 5 cherry pies plus 3 cherry pies is 8 cherry pies. The cherry pies just stay the same. They don't become like cherry pies squared, or they don't become blackberry pies. They're just, yeah, what you have stays, what you're adding stays as that big. All right. Yeah. Hey, talking here.
Gab's a hit.
No, actually, the guy in the post office is like from the east side or something.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna stand top right now.
Yeah, I know that guy.
I'm kidding you.
Huh.
He is straight from the east side. Anyways, how is it only a 2 on the outside?
Because this has a 1 on the outside, right? So 1 minus 2 is negative 1, plus 3 is 2.
I forgot the one.
Yeah, right. Okay, and then number 6, now we have to FOIL those.
How do you know when to FOIL? When they're both in parentheses?
Yeah, when they're both in parentheses and there's 2 things in each parentheses. Okay, when it's a binomial times a binomial. Okay, so Alex says first times first is 10.
Negative 5.
Outside times outside is negative 5 square root of 3. Good. Inside times inside is 2 square root of 3, and then negative 3, right? Because it's not square root of 6, you're going to multiply these together. 3 times 3 is 9, and the square root of 9 is 3. Okay? So that's your first step. First, outside, inside, last. Now we're going to combine like terms. Okay? So 10 take away 3 is 7. And then negative 5 root 3 plus 2 root 3 is negative 3 root 3. Okay? McGuire?
Forgot what to do, but like, it's like quantity 5 plus square root.
Wait, why?
Plus in the middle there, it's an multiplication.
Okay, so if it was 5 plus the square root of 3 plus 2 minus the square root of 3, okay, then you just combine like terms. So you would say 5 plus 2 is 7. Square root of 3 minus square root of 3 cancel, so your final answer would be 7. So that's really easy when you're doing it that way. Okay, next one. Yeah.
We can use this on the test, right?
No.
What? I said no, that's totally not cool.
No, you review that we're doing together in class.
So just take notes on your review.
Yeah, you can take notes on this and then use those on the test, but I'm going to collect this before the test. Okay? All right, number 7. X to the 3/4 to the 4/3. What do you do when you go in a power to a power? Yeah, right. You multiply, so that means you're going to cancel them. So this on top and that on the bottom cancels with that on the bottom and that on the top, and you get a final answer of just plain old X. Okay? Same deal here with what's number 8 on your sheet. If I go negative 3/8 times 16, 8 goes into 16 twice, and 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And then 4 goes into 16 4 times, and 1 times 4 is just 4, so you're going to start with that. But then don't forget that we want all of our things to be positive. So what does a negative exponent do? To,
Puts it down.
Yeah, moves it down to the bottom. And then remember, the exponent becomes positive, okay? It doesn't change the sign of the term itself. Okay?
I just got like,
You got what, Reed?
I don't know how I launched.
Okay. Huh? This up here? Why you're like the third person this week to ask about that. Why is that being noticed?
Such as like.
I just asked you about it.
That's a Wi-Fi thing.
Oh, transfer.
You multiply the 16 by,
Yeah, another way you can do it when you're multiplying the fractions is you can think about this as being 16 over 1. So you can go 3 times 16 is negative 48. And then 8 times 1 is 8. But then 8 goes into 48 6 times, so that's going to be negative 6. Okay, is that easier to do it that way?
I got your back.
Okay, I like to cancel first and then multiply because the numbers are smaller.
How did it turn into a division problem though?
Because this exponent is negative, and a negative exponent goes to the division.
Why can't you have a negative?
You can.
So if we write it like if as a negative and not positive.
Well, I would like you for this to try to remember to make it positive.
But if like,
Then I will follow you, maybe.
If it was me, he'd mark me down.
Yeah, Miss Alex, I marked the whole problem wrong. If it's you, Reed, I'd probably just draw an arrow, put it to the bottom, little smiley face, thumbs up.
What about me?
good job, Sean.
Yeah, exactly.
What about me?
What's that?
What would you do for me?
Give you an F on the whole thing.
Well, thanks. I'm cooler. Yeah, I thought you like me more than Alex.
Okay, then number 9, which is that one right there. Okay, so you have x squared plus 13 to the 1/2 equals 7. How do you get rid of the 1/2? What'd you say? Square both sides, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to take x squared plus 13 to the 1/2 and raise that whole thing to the second power. Okay? Which means that I need to which means I need to raise the stuff on the right side of the equation to the second power also. Okay? So if it's to the 1/2 power, to get rid of it, you square both sides. If it was to the 1/3 power, you would cube both sides. Okay, so you're always just going to do the opposite.
Please cross that one.
Okay, so this 2 and 1/2 get crossed out. So I get x squared plus 13 equals 49.
Oh, shoot.
Read?
Why not the 13?
What do you mean why not the 13?
You said square everything.
I feel like I know what this is.
Right, so when I have a power to a power, what do I do with the exponent?
Cancel.
Right.
I'm talking about the 13, I'm not talking about the
Well, I wouldn't square the 13 because this squared canceled with this 1/2. I'm not squaring the x either technically because the x was already squared.
See, I didn't look at my table for this one.
Oh, okay, so you got it now? All right.
I thought you
McGuire?
squared the x out of nowhere, and I'm like, that
Oh, I
doesn't
see.
make
Right,
sense.
right, right. No, it was already squared. What?
Can I go up?
No.
What?
Jake's gonna get a good laugh out of that one.
Okay, so then how do I finish solving this equation? Subtract 13. So that x squared equals 36. So then what does x equal? 4, negative 6. Remember when we're solving equations, we want all the solutions that will work, okay? When you just say what's the square root of 36, we're just asking for the primary root. But when you're solving equations, you want both of them. So since there's an x there, you need to put 6 and negative 6 down as your answers. All right? Okay, any questions about that? All right? Okay, let's look at these function things here. So this is number 10, 11, and 12. Okay? All right, so f plus g of 1/2. This just means take the 1/2 and plug it in for x in both of these functions, and then add your answers together. So what is f of 1/2? No, sir.
No.
4, because 2 times 1/2 is 1, and 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay? What is g of 1/2? A little trickier because of fractions, but if I square 1/2, 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4 minus 1/2. So this is like 0.25 minus 0.5, negative 0.25. Okay? And then we want to figure out what those are added together.
3.75.
So 4 plus negative 0.25 is 3.75. Okay? Read.
Okay,
Okay? Jake's going to help you out here.
so
Yeah.
what we do is plug 1/2 into gx,
Yep.
and then solve for that, and that answer into fx.
No. That's if you're doing f of g of x, but that's not what we're doing here.
Okay, so we plug 1/2 in both of them.
And then add it together. Yes. So all we did, Reed, is we plugged in 1/2 for x here.
Oh, you're plugging it in for X.
Yep. And then just added those together. Okay?
Don't mind me.
Okay. George?
So what if my answer is 15 over 4? Is that
Um,
right? Or do you
15
require
over 4
375.
is 3.75. Yep, so that'll work.
So do you require?
I don't require, no. No. Yes. Where'd the 4 come from? Because I put 1/2 in here for x. So 2 times 1/2 is 1, and then 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay? All right, so now let's do the same thing, but we're dividing, and this time we're plugging in 2. So Jed, what's f of 2? What do you get when you plug 2 in for x in the f function? 2 times 2 is 4, but then it says add 3 onto that, so you get 7 as your final answer. Okay? Jed, I got to stick with you till you get it right. What's g of 2?
2 squared
Which is,
minus x.
right?
2x.
No, 2 squared you said. I like that.
Okay, you gotta simplify. Minus 2 squared.
I'm plugging 2 in for both of these x's. Okay, so it's going to be 2 squared minus 2. What is 2 squared? 4, and 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay? Okay, and then the problem says f divided by g. So 7 divided by 2 is my final answer, or you can write that as 3.5 if you prefer your answers in decimals. Okay? Okay, and then number 12, doing the same thing, but now I am multiplying. You got it, or you want to try this one too? So I need to figure out what g of 5 is. Yep, so 5 squared is 25, minus 5 good is 20. Okay, and then what's f of 5? Anybody? Nope. What's f of 5? What? 13.
Wow.
Because 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13.
I'm
And
going
then
to
this problem says multiply those together. So 20 times 13 is 260. Okay? Yeah.
Is that the speaker up there for all of this?
No, the microphone is in the laptop right there.
Hey.
So Jake is listening very closely, so you can whisper him secret messages. Uh-huh. Yeah.
So
No, not you. Sit down.
it's
You'll get me in trouble.
So it's g of x, or g of f.
Because everyone can see
And you
this.
take the 20 and put it like
Yeah,
x.
right, right.
Yeah, he puts it on YouTube.
I can't see us.
He's gonna email it to me.
No, but he knows it's going to be. You put it on YouTube, right?
Yep.
Told you.
Yeah, so Jake needs to stay away. All right, so then numbers.
Jake,
What's the next one?
don't
Okay,
fail.
look.
I said don't fail.
Okay. Number 13. All right, so this is a little bit different. This now, these are the ones that kind of cause some problems. The first thing we're doing is, yeah, we're going to do g of f of x.
Okay.
So the first thing we're doing is we're taking the x and we're plugging it in to the f function, right? Because we're going to do this part first.
2x minus
So, right, f of x is 2x minus 1. Okay? Now we're taking that answer and we're plugging it into the g function. Yeah, for the x in the g function. So I'm going to figure out what is g of 2x minus 1. So that means I need to rewrite this g function right here. And I'm going to replace all of the x's with this whole thing. Just like we did in the last problem, we were replacing the x's with numbers. Now we're replacing the x's with function itself. So instead of being 3x squared, it's going to be 3 times 2x minus 1 squared plus 12. Okay? So now you have to figure out what 2x minus 1 squared is. So 2x minus 1 squared is 2x minus 1 times 2x minus 1. First times first is 4x squared. Outside is negative 2x. Inside is
Negative
also negative 2x. And last times last is
1.
no, you're always adding at the end. I don't know why you do that. It's multiplication
Negative
all the way
1.
through.
1.
Negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Okay? And then combine like terms. You did that on the other problem too. You wanted to add them together. Oh, you only do that with the last ones though. I don't know why. It's all multiplication.
Messed up.
2.
Okay? So that is what 2x minus 1 squared is. So I need to take that whole thing and multiply it by 3 and then add 12 onto the answer. So this is a rough one.
That's easier than I thought, actually.
So if I multiply the whole thing by 3, I get 12x squared minus 12x plus 3 plus 12.
Yeah.
Okay?
15. Poppy, what is it?
And
Times
then combine my like terms, final answer, 12x squared minus 12x plus 15.
Wow.
Okay, that was easier than I thought.
Easier than you thought? Yeah, that's no problem. Took the whole board there.
Yeah,
Okay?
but
So when it's g of f of x, that means you have to take the entire function and plug it into the other one wherever the x's are. Okay?
shoot.
So you,
Great.
No.
I didn't really multiply my right, yeah, exactly. Okay.
Goodbye, James.
Right. Okay, so let's do this again now with going the other way around.
what was that answer?
He's like,
Final answer: 12x squared minus 12x plus 15.
no.
All right, Logan.
Jacob tried to get me.
I know.
He always throws.
Right, so now we're going to go the other way around.
Whoa.
And this is going to be quite a bit easier.
Wow.
Now I am going to take the g function and plug it in for x in the f function. So all I need to do now is replace that x right there with what the g function equals. So instead of going 2 times x minus 1, I'm going to go 2 times 3x squared plus 12 minus 1.
Wait.
Okay?
So that was. I thought we were done. All right.
Well, no, we just did g of f of x.
Gotcha.
Now we're doing f of g of x. Okay? So multiply this whole thing by 2 is 6x squared plus 24 minus 1, and then final answer 6x squared plus 23. So that's a lot easier because we didn't have to do that foiling step in the middle. But the concept, the idea is the same. You just take that entire function and plug it in everywhere you see an x in the other function. Okay? I know those are the tricky ones. The f of g of x and the g of f of
Probably
x.
should
but-
only put one of those.
Right. To make it worth 20 points.
Yeah, about that.
All right, so then now let's find inverses. And we did not get to this in the review that we were working on together.
So this was extra credit?
Nope.
Okay.
So pay special attention to this. So how do I find the inverse?
Flip it.
Right, flip the x and the y. So I'm going to rewrite this as x equals y squared minus 3. Now I have to solve that for y. 2 steps. First step is
Agree.
add 3 to both sides. So y squared equals x plus 3, and then take it home.
Switch out the y.
No.
No, you square it.
Square root it.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to square root both sides
Wow.
and get y equals plus or minus the square root of x plus 3.
Nope.
Okay? Remember, when you're taking the square root, when there's variables in there, you have to do the plus or minus thing. Okay, is that a function?
No,
No,
sir.
because the plus or minus, when I plug in x, I'm going to get two different answers. And for it to be a function, when I plug in an x, I need to get the same answer, one single answer, every time.
I didn't know
Okay.
plus or minus.
Because anytime you take a square root, or a fourth root, or a sixth root, or whatever, you need
Oh,
a square root.
even root.
Right, even root. Well said. All right, number 15, same deal to start with. Switch the x and the y. How do I get rid of that square root thing? Square both sides. So x squared equals y minus 5 over 4.
Times by
Now
4.
two simple steps. What?
Times by 4.
Times by 4. So 4x squared equals y minus 5. And then,
Minus 5.
no,
Plus 5, I mean.
same thing.
Same thing. You know it is.
So final answer, y equals 4x squared plus 5.
Minus 5, same thing.
Okay. Square root, square, same thing. Doesn't matter.
They're basically the same. You know
Basically
it.
the same. Totally the opposite, but basically.
No.
Is that a function?
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Okay, and then the last one of these, same deal again to start. Switch the x and the y. What?
Subtract
Subtract
1,
one
Luke.
from both sides.
It's not add
Totally
one.
different.
Square.
Not even close, Luke. Why do you think
Who
that?
would ever make that mistake?
No one.
Yeah. Okay, and then what'd you say?
Square.
Nope.
Cube it.
Cube root it.
Yeah.
So this is going to be the cube root of x minus 1 equals y minus 2. Anyone but read, do I need the plus or minus?
Nope.
No, why not?
Because it's odd.
Because it's an odd root.
Luke.
Okay? Alright, and then my last step is
I will.
add 2 to both sides.
Don't lie to tell me twice.
So y equals the cube root of x minus 1 plus,
Dose.
okay?
Yeah, these
Yes, that will be a function because we don't have that plus or minus thing going on. So this is yes, a function. And this is also yes, a function.
So it's basically yes, a function unless it's plus or minus.
Correct. What? The last one? Oops. Right there. Okay, then finish off with a couple of word problems. Okay, so number 17, store is having a sale with a 15% discount on all items. In addition, employees get a $20 discount on purchases of 100 or greater. Will an employee get a better deal if the $20 discount is applied first, or the 15% discount is applied first?
15%.
Right, you want to do the percent first because you're going to take the percent discount off of a bigger number, so you will save more money.
Wow.
Okay?
Save more money.
All right, and then the last one, a spherical water tank holds 6,000 cubic feet of water. What is the diameter of the tank? What do I do with the 6,000?
Put it in for the volume.
Put it in for the volume. So 6,000 equals pi over 6 times d cubed.
That's as far as I got on this one.
Okay, so we've got to solve
Oh,
for
do
d.
you have me?
Okay, so what do I do first?
You're gonna,
Times by 6, thank you. So that means
You can do that?
36,000 equals pi times the diameter cubed.
okay, now you divide by.
Now I'm going to divide both sides by pi, and that's a calculator question. So 36,000, 1, 2, 3, divided by pi is that. So the diameter cubed equals 11,459.1559. Okay? And then how do I get the D, get rid of the cube here?
Cube root.
Cube root both sides, okay? And so there's a couple different ways that you can do that on your calculator. You can take this number right here, and you could raise it to the, what is it? Yeah, I know. What is cube root as a fraction?
1/3,
1/3, so I could raise that to the 1/3 power. Or,
1/3.
in the math menu, there is a cube root option there. So you could do the cube root of that number that way also.
It better be a
Either
real
way
number.
you slice it, you'll get the same answer. Okay? So about 22.55 feet. Okay? Yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you hang on to these tonight in case you would like to spend some time studying them or copying them down as notes. But I am going to collect these before you start taking the test tomorrow. So you'll need to do the test without the assistance of your practice test. Okay?